we get 9 states. You can see the map or the graph on the bottom that kind of shows you each state when they ratified on a timeline. Delaware being first, New Jersey number 3. And by 1788, it was clear with the ratification of New Hampshire that they had enough states. But with the states holding out, there's a lot of worry that the unity of this country would be in doubt. Massachusetts is holding out its delegates until a Bill of Rights was promised by the Federalists. Was a real important aspect. Basically, the trade-off, the compromise was Federalists say you vote for the Constitution as is with the setup of the 3 branches of government. Everything that we voted on, the Constitution doesn't change, but we'll add to it a Bill of Rights. You get the Bill of Rights, we get the Constitution. So that's the compromise and trade-off. Eventually, New York, Virginia, North Carolina, and Rhode Island, who were holding out, join and sign on to the Constitution. But for a while, they're separate countries. So think of like the weirdness of having the New England states separated from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, which are part of the same country, by New York, or Pennsylvania and Maryland being separated from North Carolina by Virginia, a separate country. It's definitely a weird situation. Or Rhode Island being surrounded by a separate country. It's all a very odd situation. So we see that in the end, the nation wouldn't be able to survive without all 13, and those 13 wouldn't be able to survive alone. And by 1790, all 13 joined the Union. Fun fact, when George Washington takes the oath of office, 1788, 2 of the U.S. states had not yet ratified. So he was only the president of 10 states. Pretty funky. All right, so that Bill of Rights promise was really important. One of the most important aspects of the U.S. Constitution is that it can be amended, that it's a living document. It's not written in stone, it's written on paper, meaning that things can be crossed out, deleted, that things can be written on it and added to it. And to that end, keeping that promise to the Anti-Federalists, James Madison sets about in 1789 the writing of 12 amendments. Not all 12 will be added, but the basic ideas within it that the protection of individual freedoms, of basic rights. These first 10 amendments are collectively known as the U.S. Bill of Rights, and they are officially added in March of 1792. They include the freedom of to exercise your religious beliefs, to not have a government chosen, a religion chosen for you by the government, to freely speak your mind, to assemble, to have a freedom of the press, your due process rights, all of your protections in a court of law, your protections if you're being investigated for breaking the law. All these essential rights, your right to bear arms, are all protected within those first 10 amendments. Eventually, because the Constitution can be amended, because it's not written in stone, 17 more amendments would be added after 1792 throughout history, adding things like direct elections of senators, ending slavery, giving women the right to vote, so on and so forth. So there is an enduring legacy that comes out of that compromise. The Anti-Federalists fighting to get that Bill of Rights included really makes the Constitution complete. So what I'd like to know is, if you were living back in 1788, 1789, the question of ratifying the U.S. Constitution was before you, would you vote to ratify the U.S. Constitution, to give that strong government, to give that strong nation, seeing that things were falling apart? Should they have been willing to sign and vote for the U.S. Constitution without the promise of a U.S. Bill of Rights? Or were they right to not sign unless there was a Bill of Rights? So defend your answer and write it in the comments below. And I hope you have a wonderful, magnificent weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll be moving to those amendments of the Bill of Rights, 8th graders, next week. And 7th graders will be moving back to the American Revolution and dealing with common sense and the Declaration of Independence next week. Have a marvelous one.